Hello there, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well today. I'm feeling my head because of my allergies, so if this doesn't sound totally coherent, just attribute to the fact that my head isn't really coherent. I am, quote, drugged, unquote. But it's either that or not breathe, so it's like I opted for breathing. So anyway, so if something does sound a little funky, just let me know and sort of tell me where it is, and I'll try and explain it better in a future comment or on a post or something. Uh, Today, I've got a quote from William James, who was one of the first psychologists in the United States. Um, and this goes along the line of there are millions of things going on in the outward order that I don't even see or recognize. Why? Because they have no meaning to me. My attention determines what I see. What matters to me determines what I see. I should say that again a little bit faster without the comments, I think. There are millions of things going on in the outward order that I don't even see or recognize. Why? Because they have no meaning to me. My attention determines what I see. What matters to me determines what I see. Now, you may be saying something to the effect of, huh, at that particular moment, but I think the one example I can give that might make more sense to you for this is, when was the last time you looked for something and you looked for it really hard and you looked for it all over and you couldn't find it? And then somebody else came along and picked it up from the desk or whatever you were looking for that was right in front of your face and you never even saw it. And then you sit there and sort of like bang your head against the wall because it's like it was there all the time and you never saw it. That's essentially what James is talking about. You don't see things because it doesn't have your attention. If you're paying attention to one thing, whatever that thing may be, there's going to be things that you're not going to see. So if you're going through, say, to a grocery store and you're looking for the milk aisle, you may not see something else somewhere else that you really need that you might have, when you get home, you might say, oh, gee, I needed that, except you didn't think about it because you were focusing on the milk. Now, on a larger scale, this comes into play when we're looking for things like, what do I want to do with my life? Looking for a better job, looking for interesting partners, looking for whatever it is you're trying to do. And if you're focused on one particular item, you're not going to see the things around you that could be exactly what you want. And they could be there all the time, but you're not going to see them. In some literature, you've got a lot of stories, for example, of people that are looking for, spouses or, partners or some such thing like that. And they've got this one other person that's kind of hanging on the periphery that's deeply in love with that protagonist. And they never see each other because the character is just not looking at that. They're looking at somebody else. This goes on with all sorts of things. So that when you're looking at a particular belief system, and you're saying, well, this is true, you're not paying attention to anything else around it because you're just focused on those things that you're focused on, if that makes sense. But it's like that, looking for that thing that's, like that piece of paper that's on your desk that's right there and you can't see it. Or you're looking for a particular shirt or something that's in your closet, it's in your closet and you can't find it and you keep going over and your hand might even be right on it, but you just don't see it. So what James is basically saying is that if you want to start, well, I wouldn't necessarily say that he's saying this, but the implication is that if you want to start finding something different in your life, you're going to have to take a look at things differently. So if you're looking at things, say, from your left side, start looking at them from your right side. I think most of us have a tendency, or maybe that we all tend to have predominant arms, like you're more likely to be right-handed or left-handed. We also predominantly have a leg that starts out first. When you step off, one of the legs moves first, generally speaking. So that what happens is we get into the habit of doing certain things in a specific way. And if we really want to take a look and see things differently, we need to challenge that specific method and start looking at things differently. And you might be amazed at how many things you see that you never noticed before, even though they were right there. So if you've ever had a relationship that you saw was deteriorating, or after the fact you knew it was deteriorating, and you could look back at it and say, I should have seen those particular instances, I never saw them. That's, again, another example. You weren't looking for that, So you didn't see it, and then you got surprised when it happened. So that in this particular case, what I'm saying, especially now that we're at the beginning of the new year, even though it's almost February when I'm recording this, that if you're starting to say that you're dissatisfied with your life, or you're looking for something specific, or you want a better job, or you want something that you don't have now, maybe you're not even sure what you want. If you continue to take a look at things, the world around you in the same way that you've done it for the past, you're not going to see them. So see if you can start getting into the idea of trying to look at something slightly differently, talking to somebody that you might not have talked to otherwise, or maybe just talking to somebody, perhaps, if you tend not to talk to people. I know for some of you that's really difficult, but I think you get the idea. Do something that's not typical. And you might be surprised at how many things that you can see that you never saw before. Excuse me. And some of those things might open up doors to the things that you're actually looking for. I hope that makes sense. So you're looking for things in all the wrong places. I think there's an old song that says something to the, what is it? You're looking for love in all the wrong places, if I remember correctly. You're looking for answers in all the wrong places. So try and see that and see what happens if you do something different. So I hope this helps. I hope it made sense, because as I said, my head's in the situation is like I shouldn't be even doing anything with machinery, because I'm not sure that I can get someplace. It's just not, getting anywhere. I'm not even sure I should walk on my own, that kind of thing. I'm sure some of you have been there before. If you haven't, be grateful. But anyway, so I hope this was helpful. If it was, please share it with somebody. Go take a look at my Facebook group, Going Back to School, for those of you who want to go back to school, and look at older students can learn new skills. If you're trying to find something about going back to school and help with school stuff, I would really appreciate it. And just let me know if you found this useful and helpful, and we'll see you next week. Take care.